Hello everyone, I am Janak Awasthi from Nepal. Warm welcome to you all on Janak Lecture Series. Please subscribe my YouTube channel www.youtube.com/janaklecture. Hit a like on my Facebook page www.facebook.com/janaklecture. Today we are going to talk about the bony pelvis. We'll talk about the anatomical framework of the bony pelvis. So when we talk about the bony pelvis means the basin-like structure made up of bone. So this bony pelvis, the anatomical feature of this bony pelvis is consists of the four different bones which are articulated with one another to form a basin-like structure. Two bone on the lateral side on the either part, it is the hip bone, which consists of ilium, ischium and pubis, and in the midline it consists of the sacrum and the coccyx vertebra. So these two sacix and coccyx vertebra, they are articulated with one another and they are articulated with the ilium of the hip bone, and anteriorly this hip bone, they are articulated with one another at a joint known as pubic symphysis. So this pubic symphysis, it is a symphysis type of joint which is a secondary cartilaginous type of joint, and it allows minimum amount of movement during parturition. And the joint between the sacrum and the ilium, it is the plain type of synovial joint which allows very slight movement, and they are strengthened by the different ligament which we will be learning shortly. And this sacrum and coccyx, in case of male, it is a symphysis type of joint which are fused with one another, which is known as the sacralization of the coccyx. But in female, the coccyx is slightly movable, which allow the increase in diameter of the pelvic outlet during parturition. So we can see over here, this part of the hip bone is the ilium, over here inferior lying it is the ischium, and anteriorly this two part of the hip bone which are articulated with one another is the pubic or pubis bone. And this different bones, it has got the different ridges which forms a margin for the pelvic inlet. We'll be talking about the structures forming the pelvic inlet shortly. And we can see the same structure and in this picture as well. On the either side is the hip bone, and in the midline is the sacrum and the coccyx. Same thing when we visualize from the posterior side, we can see the hip bone on the either side, sacrum and coccyx on the midline. The sacrum having the sacral hiatus over here and the posterior sacral foramina. We can see the hip bone, it consists of the three bones, the ilium, the ischium and pubis, and this ilium, ischium and pubis, they are ossified in the adult stage by making a Y-shaped structure of the ossification line. Now we are going to talk about the different ligaments which support these different joints of the hip bone. First of all, we will be observing the ligaments present on the anterior side of the bony pelvis. So when we see over here, this is the fifth lumbar vertebra which is articulating with the first sacral vertebra, and this it is supported with the anterior longitudinal ligament. This anterior longitudinal ligament run throughout the vertebra till the cervical region. And we can see over here the another ligament which is supporting the sacrum and the coccyx, which is the anterior sacrococcygeal ligament, which is supporting the sacrum and the coccyx. The other ligament which run from the lumbar vertebra to ilium, it is the iliolumbar ligament. And one ligament, it runs from the transverse process of the lumbar vertebra to the sacrum, it is the lumbosacral ligament. And the another ligament which runs from the sacrum to the ilium, it is the anterior sacroiliac ligament. And there are additional two ligaments which run from the sacrum to the ischial spine, that is sacrospinous ligament, and there is another ligament that runs from the posterior side of this sacrum to the ischial tuberosity, which is known as sacrotuberous ligament. And when we visualize The same thing from the posterior side, we can see this is the iliolumbar ligament, this is the lumbosacral ligament, and running over the spinous process of the sacral vertebra, it is the supraspinous ligament, sacral supraspinous ligament, and over here connecting the coccyx and the sacrum, it is the posterior sacrococcygeal ligament. The posterior sacrococcygeal ligament, it is in the form of the two layer, the superficial layer and the deep layer of the sacrococcygeal ligament. Anterior sacrococcygeal ligament, it is in the form of the single layer, but the posterior sacrococcygeal ligament, it varies and it is present in the form of the two layer, superficial and deep. And we can see over here, this is the sacrotuberous ligament running from the posterior side of the sacrum to the ischial tuberosity, leaving the gap for the posterior sacral foramina. And now we are going to see the another ligament which lies deep to this ligament, which is the interosseous sacroiliac ligament, which runs between the bony part of the sacrum to the ilium. And this interosseous sacroiliac ligament, it is the second strongest ligament present in the body, next to iliofemoral ligament. We can see over here again the same ligaments. This is the sacrospinous ligament, this is the sacrotuberous ligament, and this is the interosseous sacroiliac ligament, which is the second strongest ligament present in the body. And we can visualize the sacroiliac joint, which is the plain type of synovial joint, and we can visualize over here the pubic symphysis, which is the secondary cartilaginous type of joint. And we can see over here, this is the sacrococcygeal joint, which is of symphysis type because of the fusion of the sacrum and the coccyx in case of male, but in case of female it is slightly mobile. We can see the same ligament over here. This is the sacrospinous ligament and this is the sacrotuberous ligament, and because of this ligament, this greater sciatic notch and the lesser sciatic notch, they are converted into a greater sciatic foramina and the lesser sciatic foramina, which allows the passage of the different neurovascular structures from the pelvic region to the gluteal region, and it also allows the passage for the vessels and nerves entering from the gluteal region back into the pelvic region. And this opening over here, it is the obturator foramen, which allows the passage of the obturator nerves and vessels into the medial compartment of a thigh through this small obturator canal, and rest of this obturator foramen, it is closed by the obturator membrane. And over here we can see the inguinal ligament running from the anterior superior iliac spine to the pubic tubercle, and part of this inguinal ligament, it is reflected over the pectinate line, which is known as the lacunar ligament. And other ligaments we can visualize over here. This is the anterior longitudinal ligament, and this is the cut portion of the interosseous sacroiliac ligament. This we can see over here. This is the posterior sacroiliac ligament, and we can see over here the joints in between the vertebra, which is known as the zygophacial joint. And we are still to deal with the two different ligaments which support this pubic symphysis. On the top is the superior pubic ligament, and inferior on inferior side it is the inferior pubic ligament. And among this superior pubic and inferior pubic ligament, this inferior pubic ligament is more stronger. Now let's talk about the pelvic mechanism. To understand the pelvic mechanism, we need to understand about the direction of the transfer of a force in the human body. The force transfers along this vertebral column, and from the vertebral column the force is transmitted through the sacroiliac joint, and then the force is transmitted to the head of the femur, and by the bones forming the framework of the lower limb, it is transmitted to the ground for dampening. So because of the force transmission along this vertebral axis, the force, it acts along this line. But we have to understand that this lumbar vertebra and the sacral vertebra, they do not lie in the same plane. They are present in the different plane by making a certain angulation. So the angulation between the fifth lumbar vertebra and the first sacral vertebra, it is about 120 degree, which is open towards the vertebral column. And you see, because of the force transmission, what happens is that along the force transmitting this along this vertebra, this lumbar vertebra is tries to push the head of the first sacral vertebra downward, and because of that there occurs the rotation along the S2 vertebra. Because of it, the inferior side of the sacral vertebra and coccyx, they tend to move backward, so making this axis, the sacral vertebra, do rotate because of the line of the difference in the line of the force transmission and the obliquity of the sacral vertebra. So this is the pelvic mechanism. But this rotation of the sacral vertebra along this axis, it is prevented by the different ligament. So moving backward of the sacrum and the coccyx, the inferior side of the sacrum and the coccyx, it is prevented by the two ligament, that is sacrospinous ligament and sacrotuberous ligament. And moving anteriorly of this sacrum, it is prevented by the interosseous ligament, iliolumbar ligament, and the posterior sacroiliac ligament. So this three ligament prevents the downward rotation of the anterior side of the orsis, the sacral promontory moving downward. And this is all about the pelvic mechanism. Try to correlate this fact clinically. In case of the multiparous woman, because of the release of the relaxin hormone, all this ligament that we talked about right now, they all get relaxed, and because of that there is increase in size of the pelvic cavity to accommodate the increasing size of the fetus. But after parturition, this ligament, they are unable to retain or gain their original position. That's why in case of the multiparous woman, the pelvic cavity or the size of the hip, that is more prominent. And when we talk about the gait in the pregnancy, what we can see that because of the increasing weight in the pelvic cavity, there occurs the pelvic mechanism, because of which the pubic symphysis tend to move downward, and the posterior side of the pelvic cavity, it tends to move upward. And because of that, what we can see that because of the increasing in load in this pelvic cavity, this pubic symphysis, it moves downward, and this posterior side of the pelvic cavity, it moves upward. And because of that, the lumbar vertebra, they are tilted anteriorly, and the sacral vertebra, they are more tilted posteriorly. And because of this anterior tilting of this lumbar vertebra, there occurs the differences in between the line of the force transmission and the line of gravity. And because of that, the woman may fall down. So prevent falling down, the woman deliberately, they try to lean backward and move like a lord to prevent the falling anteriorly. So the gait during pregnancy is like a lord-like gait. Now let's talk about the different structures forming the pelvic inlet. So we can see the structures forming the pelvic inlet. It is a sacral promontory followed by the margin of the wing of the sacrum, that is the ala, means the wing. So margin of ala or the wing of the sacrum, followed by the linea terminalis. So this linea terminalis, it is formed by the three different structure. So running from the auricular surface to the iliopubic eminence, it is the arcuate line. Running from the iliopubic eminence to the pubic tubercle, it is the pecten pubis. And running over the pubic crest and the pubic symphysis, this is the portion of the linea terminalis. So this combinedly with the another side of the hip bone, it forms a rim-like structure which is known as the pelvic inlet. So sacral promontory in the midline, margin of the wing on the lateral side, and the linea terminalis on the either side. It is joined with the similar component of the opposite side to make a rim-like structure, which is the pelvic inlet. So this pelvic inlet divides the cavity of the pelvis into the two different regions. Lying inferiorly, it is the lesser pelvis, and lying anteriorly, it is the greater pelvis. So lying superiorly, it is the greater pelvis. So this greater pelvis, it is also known as false pelvis because it contains the abdominal viscera, and it is not completely formed by the bony landmarks. Anteriorly, this landmark, this bony framework, this case is covered with the anterior abdominal wall. So it is the false pelvis, whereas this true pelvis, it is completely enclosed by the bone and also completely consists of the pelvic viscera, which consist of the rectum and the urinary bladder, both in case of male and female, whereas additionally it contains uterus in case of female. That's why it is known as the true pelvis. This is the pelvic inlet. When we see from the superior side, within the pelvic cavity projected inward, it is the inferior side of the sacrum and the coccyx and the two ischial spine, which are projected inward into the pelvic cavity. But there are slightly variation of this structure in case of the male and female pelvis. Now let's talk about the pelvic outlet. The pelvic outlet, it is formed anteriorly by the pubic symphysis. On the lateral side, it is formed by the inferior ischiopubic ramus. On the lateral side, the two ischial tuberosity, and posterior laterally, it is formed by the sacrotuberous ligament, and on the midline in the posterior side, it is the tip of the coccyx. So when we join these different landmarks, we get the boundary of the pelvic inlet. Now let's talk about the boundary of the pelvic cavity. So this boundary of the pelvic, we finished talking about the boundary of the pelvic inlet and the pelvic outlet. Now we'll talk about the boundaries of the pelvic cavity. So pelvic cavity, it is bounded posteriorly by the sacrum and the coccyx, anteriorly by the posterior surface of the pubic symphysis. On the lateral side, it is bounded by the pelvic surface of the ilium and the ischium, and posterior laterally it is bounded by the sacrospinous ligament and the sacrotuberous ligament. So these are the different anatomical landmarks which bound this pelvic cavity. So this is the same picture again showing the pelvic outlet, the pubic symphysis in the midline, the inferior ischiopubic ramus on the either side, ischial tuberosity on the lateralmost side, and the sacrotuberous ligament on the posterior lateral side, and in the midline of the posterior side, it is the tip of the coccyx, so which articulate with one another to form the boundary of the pelvic outlet. And this pelvic outlet and the different foramina, they are guarded with the different muscles. So this obturator foramina, it is guarded with the obturator membrane, and lying over it is the obturator internus muscle. And this greater sciatic foramina, it is covered with this muscle which is known as piriformis muscle. And the pelvic outlet, it is guarded with the levator ani muscle and the coccygeus muscle. So levator ani along with the coccygeus muscle, it is known as the pelvic diaphragm, which is the hammock-like structure that supports different pelvic viscera, and it has got the different openings over here for the passage of this different pelvic viscera into the exterior side. And this bony pelvis, it is not vertical, it is slightly tilted in such a manner that the anterior superior iliac spine and the pubic tubercle, they happen to lie in a single plane. And because of that, the pelvic inlet, it is not vertical, it is slightly tilted. So it is tilted in the angle of 55 to 60 degree. The sacral promontory angle from the line passing from the sacral promontory to the upper part of the pubic symphysis, it makes an angle of 55 to 60 degree with horizontal plane. Whereas the pelvic outlet, the margin of the pelvic outlet, which runs from the tip of the coccyx to the inferior side of the pubic symphysis, it makes an angle of 10 to 15 degree with the horizontal plane, which shows that the pelvic inlet and the outlet, they are not in parallel with the horizontal plane, they are making a certain angulation with reference to the horizontal plane. So because of that, the pelvic inlet, the axis of the pelvic inlet, it is running downward and backward, whereas the axis of the pelvic outlet, it is running upward and backward like this. With this, we come to the end of our lecture. Thank you very much for watching.